Hello, and welcome to another episode of We Only Stand Patrick Stump in This Household. That's right, children. So, I've decided to draw a piece based on Fall Out Boy's song Hold Me Tight or Don't, because, it's an iconic song. Also, I'm kind of planning on doing a series of portraits based on each one of the songs, because why not? And to accompany this speed paint, I have also decided to list out every single near-death experience I've ever had, or at least the ones that I can remember, because they seem to be on theme. If you have seen the music video, which is it's about Dia de los Muertos, but there's still some death involved there. So let's get into it, shall we? Times I've almost died. So the first time I nearly died was when I wasn't even born yet. So my mom was still pregnant with me. I'm not sure how many months. Apparently she was helping my dad fix his car, and somewhere along the way she was electrocuted. It might have been by the battery, I don't know, but she claims that whole day, during that time, her stomach turned kind of blue, and she thought that I had actually died. So, not off to a great start. Second time I nearly died was when I had just been born, and apparently I was born with some weird thing that happens to babies where they're born with their intestines kind of twisted, I guess. It requires a ton of surgery and everything, and it has to be fixed quickly, immediately. And my mom says that during the first few weeks that I was born, I never stopped crying, which that's a whole mess. I was born crying and I'm still crying now. Moving on. So another time was when my mom apparently was outside hanging laundry or something, and this was before we had the fence. So our house was just in the open. We had no fence, no gate, no anything. And she sees this big ass dog coming at her, just walking, but in her mind she thought he was trying to attack her. It's a big German Shepherd apparently. And he was actually a friendly dog. He just looked kind of menacing. But the deal there was that my mom thought that I could have died at that moment because apparently there's this old wives' tale where they say that if a breastfeeding mother gets scared, gets a big scare, the milk will go bad, and if she feeds that to the baby, then the baby will get sick, so that's the whole thing. Apparently it's not an actual thing, it's just an old wives' tale. It's common with Hispanics, which I am. Oh, there's this other time when, I don't know, I was 4 or 5 or something, and I had pneumonia. And it wasn't severe pneumonia to the point where I had to be hospitalized or treated in a hospital, but it was kind of bad because I had respiratory problems, as pneumonia is. Really what I remember, not being able to breathe that well. And then once I was getting the treatment, the medicine for it, I would cough up a bunch of gross stuff. So have fun with that picture in your head. Oh, yes. Also, as you will notice as I go down this list, I was a stupid kid. I was a whole ass idiot. So, my parents got me this bike with training wheels, as most children start off with. And this one time, I decided I wanted to ride my bike as fast as I could before my dad backed out of the driveway. So I was on the sidewalk and my dad was backing out slowly. And I was like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I didn't know about the X Games back then, but like, I would have been amazing in the X Games because guess what? I actually made it before my dad backed up. But I realized I could have died back then. My parents were hella mad at me. They're like,
what the fuck are you doing?
You know, I don't know what I was doing. See, there's this other time I was running in the house, and my mom had just mopped the kitchen, so it was still wet. The tile was still fucking wet. And I don't know why I was in such a hurry, but I slipped and I fell, and I remember hitting my head pretty hard. No blood came out, but I could have had a concussion. And that's another reason why I think I was a very stupid kid. Oh, and here's the nail on the coffin. I remember the time that the neighbor kid told me that if you ever bleed out of your head, you will die. Right? A couple days afterwards, his own cat scratches me in the forehead because like I was playing too rough with it, I guess. And so I see blood come out of my forehead and I'm just like, "Oh, shit. Okay. I'm dying. That's it. I'm going to die at the ripe age of like 6 years old." I'm dead. Cool. There was this other time as a child where I wanted to heat up a tortilla in the toaster oven, and I just left it there unattended. I went to go watch my cartoons, as one does. Well, I was probably watching like, I don't know, Dragon Tales or something. And the tortilla lit on fire, and the whole fucking toaster was on fire. My mom had to like rush into the kitchen and unplug it and then douse water on it. It was a big ass fire, but I could have burned shit down. And then this other time, I don't remember how old I was, but the front door neighbor used to babysit me, like regularly, really. And this was right around the time we had just like installed a gate and like a fence all around the house, and my parents used to lock it all the time. So I was at the front door, babysitter being babysat, and I decided I wanted to get my scooter from the house. So I go across the street and the gate is locked. So I decide, oh, I'm just gonna jump this gate, So I do, and I go over, grab my scooter, throw it over the fence, sorry. And then as I'm like trying to get out of the property, I kind of slip and I damn near impaled myself. I had a small scar like under my sternum for a while. But my parents were pretty pissed at that. And they had to take the lock off of the fence because they had a stupid child. See. And then there's this other time on the 4th of July when one of my other neighbors, who was a policeman, gave me some fireworks. And they're like the long sticky kind. And I thought they were sparklers. I'm like, oh shit, sparklers, work. I lit one and it was kind of just like sending sparks out. And I was like, oh, but Like, this is not how a sparkler usually looks. It's just like on fire. And then suddenly, it just like, the whole thing shoots down and almost like catches, and my skirt almost catches on fire. So I think that skirt got a little bit scorched. I'm reading this off a list. I'm sorry, it's not very organic. I needed to put my thoughts in order. There's also this other time that I was getting off of a plane, and you know how people have carry-on suitcases on the overhead compartment? Yeah, well, one of those was about to fall on my head. A 40-pound suitcase was gonna fall on my head, and if it wasn't for the dude that was sitting in front of us, I would not be speaking right now. He caught this 40-pound thing that was like 2 inches from my head. And yeah. Let's see, there's also this time that I was trying out my new boogie board that I had just bought. And I was having so much fun on it that I didn't notice that it was like kind of carrying me out into sea deeper and deeper. Like I was just like sitting on top of it and I was floating. And when I noticed, like the lifeguard is like waving his arms at me. And I'm like, oh shit, now I can't stand on the seafloor, like I have to swim. But I've got my boogie board strapped to me and like I just bought this. I don't wanna lose it, you know? I somehow made it back to shore, but like yeah, for a moment I thought I was gonna drown. You see, there's also this one time when I was like, I don't know, like 18, I think. My mom's car temporarily died on the train tracks as the train was coming. And my first thought to that was, is this a Tom and Jerry cartoon? Because it really does sound like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. So she had to like, she had to restart the ignition and everything, and just, it was a whole mess. We actually thought we were gonna die that day. And the train wreck does not stop there, because just this past year, 2018, I was crossing the street where we have some train tracks there, and this dude in a truck decides to run a red light. So if I had taken like 2 steps forward, that dude would have run me over. I would have died. I would have been dead. Let's see. I hope this audio quality is good. It's just I don't have my usual microphone that is in storage, and I'm too lazy to go to storage. But hope y'all enjoyed this. I did 2 versions of this thing because I cannot decide. I can't do decisions. Please, no one put me in charge of anything. In hindsight, this doesn't look that much like Patrick, but I still like how it came out. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I've got a couple more speed paints coming. Oh, and thank you for 100 subscribers. Why are people subscribing to me? I uploaded like 5 times last year. Anyways, bye.